Let this World Food Day be a reminder of the need to accelerate these efforts and call for action to strive for a future where no one is left behind and where everyone has access to healthy and affordable food.
We want to sensitize everybody about the importance of food. We all know, but what kind of food and what kind of environment are we producing our food from?
I thank FAO and all the other UN agencies and the government for taking their time to come here and just celebrate the World Food Day on our farm.
Although Zambia is endowed with vast arable land and favorable climatic conditions for both agriculture and livestock production, there are still reports of food insecurity and high rates of undernutrition, especially for children. The major factors that contribute to food insecurities include limited crop and food diversity, high pests and diseases burden, post-harvest losses, and low intake of nutritious foods. Additionally, high deforestation and land degradation leave Zambia particularly vulnerable to climate change. About 60% of the Zambian population are rural small-scale farmers engaged in agriculture as their major economic activity. Among this percentage, women are the most predominant and are key if we are to achieve agricultural growth, shared prosperity, improved livelihoods, and zero hunger, all of which contribute to the achievement of the Sustainable Development Goals, SDGs, and in line with this year's World Food Day theme. This year, the World Food Day is celebrated under the theme Leave No One Behind, Better Production, Better Nutrition, a Better Environment, and a Better Life.
This year, World Food Day is being commemorated under the theme Leaving No One Behind, Better Production, Better Nutrition, a Better Environment, and a Better Life. I wish to sincerely thank you for taking the time to attend this very important event, which is specially focused on recognizing food, which is not only key for our individual well-being, but highly significant for the economic development of the Zambia Republic.
In order to maintain better production, nutrition, environment, and better life and ensure food security at both national and household levels, there is need to promote agroecology farming systems as demonstrated by Vala Citrus farm proprietor Pastor Frank Musukwa, who has successfully balanced between agriculture expansion and better environment, which is inclusive and sustainable.
As you can see, we are standing here in this bush, so to say. We've created this bush ourselves. Of course, there were indigenous trees when we came here. Some of them, we put them out. Some of them are still here, but we've planted more than what we found here for us to have a better environment. You know that we are all struggling with climate change. So to ensure that we mitigate the effects of climate change, we have to plant trees. And we have thousands and thousands of trees on this farm. We keep a few chickens just for our own consumption, and we've also got fish. As you will go around here, you'll see we've got a small pond, but we also got plans to do at least a few, maybe 5 or 10 fish ponds. But for now, we've just have one pond where we have fish for our own consumption. And I believe that even also our workers on the farm will also be benefit from the fish that we have.
In Zambia, despite recent increases in maize yields due to fertilizer and seed subsidy packages, the overall smallholder farmer production still remains poor. Post-harvest losses, soil erosion, and poor water management have been identified as limiting factors affecting production and productivity. The Leave No One Behind in this year's theme focuses not only on the importance of sustainable food production, but also on improving the nutrition status of the people of Zambia through promoting consumption of adequate amounts of diverse, safe and nutritious foods every day. Mutema Mbezo Multipurpose Cooperative is making strides producing and processing local foods such as legumes and substitute foods from maize to make porridge for infants.
Our cooperative, it is engaged in different activities. One, we do agriculture. We have got livestock, that is the chickens we have. Then from there, we are also in food processing. Although we don't have our own machine, we are still getting from other people so that they help us. But the foods which we process, we have got peanut butter. We are having also cooking oil, which we also process. Then the other thing is we also make other foods, nutrition foods for children. Nowadays it is difficult that everything the child can get. We process food like from the pumpkin or butternut, we make them snacks. We make butternut porridge. From the sample, we make them samp, which we also grate to make it smooth so that the child is able to eat. Then we are able also to make porridge from coconut, which we make it as a porridge for children because it's rich in vitamins. Then we are able also to make chiwantu for people. Sometimes you are not able to buy a drink, but when, like the way it is hot nowadays, we make chiwantu, which is there for anyone who comes, at least if they are thirsty, we give them chiwantu for them to relax.
With the advent of the global pandemic and effects of climate change, children, the youth, and women are the worst affected, as attested by the Vice President Mutale Nalumango. However, she states that the government of Zambia is committed to ending hunger by 2030, a pronouncement made by President Hakainde Hichilema during the United Nations Food Systems Summit.
His pronouncement, his commitment is in line with the United Nations Sustainable Development Goal number 2. I also wish to point out that this year's World Food Day celebrations finds us at a time when we are battling with the effects of a global pandemic and the Russia-Ukraine war, coupled with the effects and impact of climate change, as well as impact of the ever-rising commodity prices. You can't put it any better. There are many things that we are fighting against today. Without question, these are all factors affecting global food security, which is even more pronounced in third world countries like Zambia, where children, the youth, and women represent the majority and hence bear the pangs of poverty the more. Therefore, ladies and gentlemen, there is need for us to join forces in addressing the challenge of food and nutrition insecurity in our country, so as to enable us ensure every Zambian, including children and women, have regular access to health and nutritious food. I like to do that, particularly that my office is custodian of the food and nutrition. When we talk food, it's not just food. I'll repeat that many times. It is health and nutritious foods without leaving anyone behind.
Negative human activities play a critical role in environment degradation. The Food and Agriculture Organization FAO country representative Ms. Suze Percy Filippini has appealed to every Zambian to play a role in maintaining the environment green, holistic, and sustainable.
I wish to sincerely thank you for taking the time to attend this very important event, which is specially focused on recognizing food which is not only key for our individual well-being, but highly significant for the economic development of the Zambia Republic. We therefore recognize the food production sectors such as agriculture, fisheries, livestock, and natural resources, and their interplay with the industry and other sectors in a complex food system. We recognize government's commitment to transforming the food systems to make it more efficient, resilient, and sustainable. Your presence at this event, ladies and gentlemen, is therefore very cardinal and demonstrates your commitment in contributing to achieving the food systems transformation agenda. Ladies and gentlemen, today's meeting is part of a series of events aimed at commemorating the World Food Day, which is also FAO's anniversary. But more importantly, a day that brings together governments, businesses, NGOs, and civil society organizations, researchers, and practitioners to interact around the subject of food. On this day each year, in commemoration of the World Food Day, FAO leads in effort to promote global awareness creation and action for populations battling hunger, as well as for the need to ensure wealthy and nutritious diet for all, leaving no one behind. Ladies and gentlemen, there is a clear need for us to continue working together in the prioritization and promotion of the right for all people to access healthy and nutritious foods. Every one of us has a role to play in our efforts towards an inclusive and sustainable future. For this reason, the United Nations systems in Zambia remains committed to supporting government efforts aimed at reducing poverty and ending hunger through promoting food security, improved nutrition, and sustainable agriculture.
The Forest and Farm Facility Program is a joint program that the Food and Agriculture Organization of the United Nations, in short FAO, is implementing in partnership with other international agencies, namely IIED of the UK, the IUCN of Switzerland, and the Agricode of Netherlands. Farm Facility Program is a program that has been designed targeting building capacity of what we call forest and farm producer organizations. So you will see that we combine forest and farm producer organizations because we realize that most of the producers here, we mean groups that provide products like forest products, even agricultural products. If you are collecting from the forest, we expect you are also participating in the management of that forest to produce more. So you are a forest producer. As much as you are collecting, but now we are training and building capacity of these collectors or gatherers or people who benefit from the forest to also start putting interest into managing the forest to produce more. So you have the forest and farm in the sense that within the landscape where we live, a person who depends on the forest in the rural areas will be as well farmers. And the same farmers will also belong to an agriculture cooperative. So there we combine ourselves, forest and farm producers, because we realize that the same people are involved in forest-related activities and farming-related activities.
Their combination of high food insecurity, relatively low yields, high deforestation, and localized land degradation leaves Zambia particularly vulnerable to climate change. According to recent estimates, It is expected that the country will face higher temperatures, shortened growing seasons, and increased frequency of severe climate events. However, among other United Nations agencies, the World Food Programme is committed to implementing innovative interventions to strengthen the resilience for better production, better nutrition, better environment, and better life.
We need to explore and implement innovative interventions to strengthen the resilience of communities and to ensure better production, better nutrition, a better environment, and a better life for all. WFP will continue to support the government in areas of crisis response, social protection through the social cash transfer and the homegrown school meals program, agricultural production and productivity enhancement, post-harvest loss management, market access, weather insurance, and access to finance using tools such as the saving groups and blended finance options.
Hunger and malnutrition can, however, still exist despite adequate food production. The leaving no one behind theme can be achieved through considering not only the system of production, but also distribution and utilization.
One of the critical aspects with hunger was that it is the way hunger is measured. Hunger is measured by the amount of energy a citizen consumes per day. And the current calculation is 2,100 kilocalories. However, from the food balance sheet point of view, the food that we have was only yielding 1,700. And that's why hunger was classified as widespread in our country. So one of the things that we had to do was to review the food balance sheet so that we include other foods in the food balance sheet. So if you make that calculation, then you discover that the energy goes up to about 2,500, 2,600 kilocalories. So that's point number one. One, we were underestimating how much energy the country has, and when you allocate per capita, then you discover that the people don't have adequate energy. So that's problem number one. Problem number two is that even the energy that is there, when you look at the inequalities in the country, you actually discover that even the energy that is available, if you look at how underprivileged the rural areas are, you discover that that energy still go back to those that may be found in a conference room like this one. And the major challenge that we've had is that when we produce food, the food is transported to be stored in specific locations. And so the food moves from the underprivileged areas. When it is needed, it has to be transported. So there's been those dynamics. So that's problem number two. Number three, government, I talked about the National Food Consumption Survey. And this survey is now estimated. So the food balance sheet was addressing the energy and food distribution at policy level, at global level. So the food consumption survey is now calculating at individual level. So based on the information that we have, we are going to address hunger. However, the rate of addressing hunger on an annual basis is currently very slow. And that's why government is calling upon the working together principle.
It then becomes obvious that if no one is left behind in the food value chain, then we can achieve better production, better nutrition, a better environment, and a better life.
On the 16th day of October each year, Zambia joins the rest of the world in commemorating the World Food Day. And the World Food Day is a day which is set aside by the Food and Agriculture Organization to commemorate, or to indicate this great day as an international day for the world to show commitment towards the fight against hunger. The theme for this year's World Food Day is better production, better nutrition, better environment, and better life. this is such a great theme which fits very well even in the 8th National Development Plan. And for those of you that have been following in the media, last month the President did launch the 8th National Development Plan. And key among the pillars that were stated in that plan was economic transformation and job creation through agriculture. And that's what we are here for today, to see what we are doing in terms of agricultural production. And when we are talking of agricultural production, we are talking of increase in productivity, we are talking of increase in crop diversification, we are talking in terms of agro-processing, we are talking in terms of value addition. And if you remember, most of us, when we were touring the field, one of the areas that we noticed that we are doing everything well in terms of productivity, but you saw how the tomatoes on the other sides were going to waste. Why? Because maybe we are lacking something in terms of agro-processing and value addition. So this is what actually can contribute to job creation when we're talking of the 8th National Development Plan, looking at economic transformation and job creation. If we've got a farm like this one and we've got agro-processing, I think this can contribute significantly in terms of job creation. So the theme reminds us that our efforts towards food production should include growing crops that have the right nutritional value, a sustainable manner, that will protect our environment for a better life. In fact, environmental sustainability is one of the key pillars, again, in the 8th National Development Plan. So when we walked around this farm, the Pastor Msukwa, told us that in this farm we don't burn anything. Everything that we have, they plow it back into the soil, they do mulching, they do composting and everything. So already you can see this significant contribution towards environmental sustainability. So I would like to encourage our farmer, Pastor Msukwa, to keep it up in that area.